I've just walked through a season of literal total surrender. You come into salvation, you get right with God, you try to get serious about Him, you start working on your relationship, you start building it, you start praying and fasting and reading the word and going to church and serving, and you go a little further, and then you start, praying for people and, helping other people, ministering to other people. A lot of people stop there, right? And it feels honorable, right? But then God will mess around and give you a promise. And He will show you where He intends to take you. Like Abraham, I'm going to multiply you. I'm going to multiply your descendants as many as the stars, as the sand on the seashore. I intend to do this for you. Joseph, these people, your family, everybody's going to be bowing down to you. I'm going to elevate you. David, I've anointed you with oil, and there's a lot of time in between, but I do intend on seating you on the throne and having you in the palace, right? I intend to make you king over my people. Total surrender is the in-between. I'm trying to keep it together. Total surrender is the in-between the promise being given and the fulfillment of that promise. We could dissect every person in the Bible who was given a promise and the way that God pruned and refined them in between before they got to that fulfillment, right? But more so Joseph, because when we entered into 5786, the Lord said that, 5786 was a Joseph year. Total surrender is the prison for Joseph. Prison did not make sense to Joseph, we can assume. Because at some point, after he was sitting in there for a long time, the cupbearer and the baker, he's like, man, I shouldn't even be here. Talk to Pharaoh for me, right? Help me get out of here. Remember me. And then he sat in there for another 2 years, right? But then God kept His word and He elevated him in an instant, in a moment. Total surrender is what happened in that prison. Because when Joseph got to Pharaoh, when he got in front of him, he had surrendered. He had given up the in-between. He was no longer advocating for himself. He was no longer trying to right all of the injustices, no longer trying to avenge himself, no longer trying to make right what went wrong for him, right? Because understandably, right, he should not have been sold off. He should not have even been in Egypt. He should have never had to be in Potiphar's house. He should have never got lied on by Potiphar's wife. He should have never been in prison, right? These things are understandable. They're logical. But God allowed these things, and He used these things to work together for His good, because He needed to get Joseph to a position of surrender before Joseph could walk in the promise, because the Lord needed to be able to move through Joseph for the position and the promise that He gave him. It's like Isaac carrying his own wood up to the mountain to be sacrificed, to sacrifice himself, basically. Just willingly walking up the mountain, carrying the own wood that you're about to be bound and almost stabbed on, right? I journeyed up the mountain carrying my own wood. I sat in the prison, where Joseph sat. I walked through the wilderness, allowing God to take me the long way, because a shortcut would have, had other enemies that I wasn't cut out for, basically. I went through all of these things, and I gave God my yes, because where else am I going to go? Because where else am I going to go? There is nobody else. There is no other God. If it's not you, then it's a bust. It's like, I have to give you a yes. I have a choice. I have free will. I can say, forget this, but there is nowhere else. There is people, and I'm trying not to make this a TED Talk, but people, we think about martyrdom. I used to think about martyrdom, and I used to think, I'm sure there's a way I could finesse my way out of having to be killed for my faith in Jesus. I'm a believing here, but maybe I could finesse on the outside. I've really gotten to a place where it's not even about finessing. I would give up my life, because what life is there? There is no life if it's not with Him, if it's not for Him. So as painful as it was, I carried that the wood on my shoulder up the mountain. I allowed him to bind me on that altar. I sat in that prison for years, proverbially, and allowed him to use the circumstances to prune me, to be able to surrender in a way that is not my will, but your will be done. I journeyed through the wilderness and I went where he told me to go. And I was grateful that my clothes and my shoes didn't wear out, but I kept my hope and my expectation that I was going to see the promised land. I went through the Garden of Gethsemane knowing that I had to go through this Garden of Gethsemane to get back to the Garden of Eden. And that's what total surrender is. I pray that this book blesses you. It's available right now on my website. It blessed me. It hurt, but it blessed me. It has changed me radically. Like, I'm not the same person that I was even this time last year. So this devotional is a roadmap to surrender. It's a roadmap to the altar. It's a roadmap up the mountain to be sacrificed. It's a roadmap to how to make it through the prison and keep your hope. It's a roadmap through the Garden of Gethsemane to the Garden of Eden. It's a roadmap through the wilderness to the promised land. And so pre-orders are available now. Books go out August 1st. There's paperbacks and there's ebooks available. Total Surrender, a 40-day devotional.